Most of what we call medical care in this country is a prescription. 60% of physician visits will end in a new prescription.
You do look glum. What you need is some Zepium. David is an extremely shy child. He'd rather play by himself than with other children. He gets anxious when we go to the mall, and he freaks out in crowds.
The pharmaceutical industry is omnipotent in terms of shaping our perceptions of illness and treatment. The industry is in basically two businesses: the business of creating chemicals and the business of creating diseases.
But it wasn't until David's teacher told me that he was antisocial at school and suggested that he may be depressed that I started to worry about David's moodiness.
One way in which the industry creates diseases is by essentially taking what are sometimes minor afflictions that affect many people and then pathologizing them or creating a disease around them.
And when I saw an ad for Zep, a magic little pill that helps kids like David fit in better, I decided to see our doctor to see if Zep could help my son.
The pharmaceutical industry spends about $20,000 per physician per year in Canada just marketing their products. So there's more money spent on educating physicians from the pharmaceutical industry than there is in all medical schools in the country.
Having David diagnosed has helped so much. He can say, "I'm normal, I just have social anxiety disorder. And I know it's not my fault that he's antisocial and a little bit depressed."
10 years ago, we never heard of social anxiety disorder. Now it's a market probably worth $4 or $5 billion to the pharmaceutical industry because they've essentially created this disease.
Don't let your shy child suffer needlessly. There is help. Zep, a magic little pill, is now David's best friend. Visit your doctor to see if Zep can help your child too.
The segment of the population in which those drugs have expanded the fastest is in the under 12 group, and especially in preschoolers. It's been described as the marketer's dream to create a market in which didn't exist before. When you talk about expanding or creating markets, it's really about getting a drug approved for one thing and then using sometimes subtle and sometimes not so subtle ways to market it for everything. What they'll often do is use statistics that are so out of line with reality to make it seem like this is something that is perfectly natural to be treating with antidepressants. This is something that 10 years ago we just called shyness. The industry almost always will use third parties to speak for them, speaking as if they're doing so in the public interest, but essentially those groups are being funded by the manufacturers to present a certain point of view. The patient advocacy organization, it's the use of celebrities, it's the use of key opinion leaders or specialists who go out and educate doctors as to the benefits of treating social anxiety. And overnight, you get a drug that had a very small market to one which suddenly is the fourth largest selling drug in the world. Last year, I published a study in the Canadian Medical Association looking at the reporting of 5 new drugs in Canada. And we found some relatively astonishing things. In over 200 articles in 24 of the largest dailies in Canada, we found that 2/3 of the time, the article about the drug in question did not mention a single side effect or adverse effect related to the drug.
The common side effects of antidepressants include
trouble sleeping, constipation.
Now, what you would want to do is prescribe drugs that had benefits which outweighs the harms.
Diarrhea, nausea,
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration assigned a scientist, Dr. Andrew Mosholder, to look at the 28 studies of SSRI antidepressants in children, and his findings were quite troubling.
Dizziness, dry mouth.
Most of the studies showed that over placebo the drugs had no effect, and in some of the studies the drugs had greater harm than benefit associated with them.
Serious side effects include
unusual mood changes,
loss of appetite,
Physicians, for the most part, are very good at putting people on drugs, but very bad at taking people off drugs.
uncontrolled tremors, increased sweating.
The problem is that the way we've set up our medical system is that we pay for 6 or 7 minutes with a physician. How much discussion of lifestyle or other things happening in someone's life can you squeeze into a 6-minute visit? Not a lot. So what the physician will do will say, I've got some free samples, here, try these.
Unlikely but serious side effects include
Painful erection, blurred vision, change in amount of urine.
The simple practice of medicine encourages this kind of episodic one-off treatment of symptoms with drugs. That's the way it works. It fits our fast-paced, fast food type lifestyle, and in many cases it results in very bad care.
highly unlikely but very serious side effects include
Seizures, fainting, tingling hands, muscle pain.
Treating childhood ups and downs with antidepressants might be a very good example of we're trying to apply a quick fix to something that's much more complex and may take more time to solve. And that's why it's really important for us to improve the quality of education for physicians, because they can be as easily bamboozled as parents. And when you leave the education of prescribing in the hands of the manufacturers, how could you expect anything different?
Numb feet, easy bruising, irregular heartbeat, trouble swallowing, unusual swelling.
I think parents should go to their physicians armed with some very good questions. The question is it worth the side effects related to SSRIs? And the side effects are quite lengthy. The most serious ones in children is the risk of what they call suicidal ideation, self-harm or attempted suicide.